Well, Mr. Weber, welcome to the interview. How are you doing?
Thank you. I'm happy to be here. Doing well. How are you?
Doing pretty good. Been doing some comic pages while listening to Slade.
All right, cool. I like that. So I'm newly aware of your show, but I really like the concept. So will I be animated through this process?
There is no animation. It's mainly just an illustration that is the promotion illustration, but the audio will be over top of it. There will be some
Cool.
animation eventually down the road. It's kind of experimenting, and for season three, there's going to be more like some animations in the background, like out the window.
All
So
right.
like we'll have the interview where it's still the picture, but with the audio over top of it. But in the background with the city and skyline, there'll be like some blimps and some planes and some birds flying across.
Very
But
cool concept. I like it a lot.
yeah, I'm an illustrator.
Cool. Nice. Maybe we can talk about some ideas I had for like cartoons and stuff like that.
Yes, looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm mostly background designer and character designer. I do a little bit of animation now and then. Mostly it's stop motion animation, but I could tell you more of that after the interview.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you've been working on a film for quite some time called Isaac, and you actually started this, and this actually happened around the pandemic. Tell me your story.
Yeah, so we started the film making process, particularly February of 2020, leading into March of 2020, right at the heart of the pandemic. And then we kind of got shut down for a little while and had to pick up at some point in 2021. And then we're at a little bit of a halt and completed the production in 2022. And we've just been in post production ever since.
Nice. And when will this film be coming out?
So realistically, July of this year. So we're still working out the specifics, but that's the plan. Is July of 2024. We get to finally release to the general public and see how everybody likes it.
Well, looking forward to watching it. I've seen your posts on Instagram and LinkedIn and YouTube, and I really like the concept where it's going. And what is the story about?
So it's pretty much about a guy who lives a very reclusive life as a mortician. You know, he's shy, he's introverted, doesn't really connect with a lot of people. He meets this fun, bubbly waitress who takes a liking to him, and she's quite aggressive in her approach. And ultimately, they start dating, and then without trying to give away too much, something takes place, and they ultimately pursue a revenge murder together. And there's some other things that transpire. It's a little bit of like a mind, it's like a psychological thriller. Certain things are not as they seem, and they come to light at the later point in the movie.
Nice. And what was the inspiration behind this story?
So originally, my friend Christopher Neal wrote the original version of the script, which
Nice.
was like a much different movie or much darker film. But I liked it because it really treaded on the depths of the mind. Like I remember reading his initial draft and getting to like page 40 or something, and then realizing, wait a second, this is not what I thought it was, and that sparked me and it excited me. And again, I just like playing. I like playing with the psyche. Like I like you know the consciousness is a really interesting theory, right? As far as like what's real, what's not, what's in your mind, what actually is taking place. And I just I always found it exciting to pursue it. It took me quite some time to find a lane to get that particular film produced, but because it's out of the box, unconventional, and it was a little hard to pitch to people. But I'm glad we finally got a chance to make it and protected the art through it. And I think I think the general public and the general audience and those who we made it for really, really like it. So I'm excited to release it later this year.
Nice. And this is an indie film?
Independent film, yeah.
Nice.
That's
And
right.
do you plan on like what I'm trying to say is like, do you plan on like because this is an independent film, do you plan on if selling it to a studio if a studio sees it and wants to buy it from you? Do you plan on
So
selling it?
so we're in the process of potentially doing some sort of joint venture with a major studio to release the film,
Mhm.
which would be really great because obviously we get to utilize their banner and promote it as one of their pictures, right? And leverage that that thought process. And then hopefully we'll do some sort of partnership with like an AMC or something and bring it out theatrically as well. Um, and again, I think it's going to do really well in the general population. I think people are going to really like it.
Nice. I'm looking forward to watching. I've been waiting a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what's also exciting about the film is that you got to work with some big names. You got to work with is it RJ Met or is it
RJ Mitty. Yep.
okay, thank you. I
Yep.
was afraid I got that wrong for a
Oh,
moment. And then you also got to work with Dove Cameron, who was originally from Disney. Now,
yeah.
what was your story in getting to work with those two actors on your project?
So they were brought to me through a casting director that we brought on to the film, and I was unfamiliar with Dove, and I was less familiar with RJ. And both were a delight to work with. I think both are like extreme talent. You know, like they are above and beyond what I had hoped for. And I think, particularly RJ, right? He just like he brought an entirely different perspective to the movie than I even originally intended, because of his cerebral palsy that he has in real life. It he approached the role uh, playing it up somewhat more than his real condition, but I think it gave the character like so much more depth and so much more like wow, like who is this guy, and it made us kind of understand why he might be a little more reclusive from society, you know, and kind of within his own world, and it plays into the psychosis of the mind and stuff too. So yeah, I'm a big fan of both of them guys.
Nice. And did you watch Breaking Bad
I
before that?
did. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. That's why I was less familiar with him, but and non-familiar with Dove because I you know I just I'm a little older. I didn't catch her Disney series stuff, and you know I just wasn't aware of who she was. But I once I realized who she was, I was like, let's get her. She would be great.
During throughout lockdown, went back when it was the COVID pandemic, during lockdown, I binge watched all three Descendants films.
Oh, nice,
Yeah,
cool.
great movies. Very well done for that
Yeah,
Sorry, Disney Channel era. But
yeah,
something else I want to talk to you about because in Descendants, well, in the sequel, because with the movies they make it like there's the Disney characters and these are supposed to be like their kids, and they in the sequel they have this prom for Disney characters, and since for a lot of kids prom season is coming up soon. Did you go to prom growing up?
prom. No, man, I got kicked out of school right before prom. I got into
Really?
yeah, I got into like a little squabble with this guy, and they kicked me out, and I couldn't go to prom, and I was actually kind of sad about it. It was I look back on that point in life, and I'm like, damn, that would have been a fun memory. And I remember getting all dressed up and like trying to take photos, graduation photos, even though I wasn't graduating with my graduating class, and I felt like an outsider a little bit. And but it was what it was. It is, you know, that's
Oh
life,
yeah,
right? Yeah,
it is. But hey, that's in the past.
yeah, that's all. That's
Well,
all.
you're not the only one. I was in my hometown, got kicked out of the movie theater.
What did you get kicked out for?
I'm not going to say why because
All right.
it's not podcast appropriate, but
Okay,
I
cool.
got kicked out of.
That's funny.
But hey, that's in the past. What I think is really cool is that besides in high school, like there's junior prom, there's senior prom, and for kids that get to experience those things, it's interesting because even as an adult, we're in the adult eras. It feels like that adults kind of live something somewhat not exactly a redo or a revisit, but you have galas. Like for kids, it's proms, and then for adults, it's galas because like you have the celebrity gala in New York City that happens around the same
Sure.
time. So, I mean, did you ever get to experience galas or?
Yeah, I mean, I've been to some galas. Yeah, I've been to some like high profile events, stuff like that, where you get dressed up and you go to like a fancy dinner. Um, that's cool. I don't think it's, yeah, it might be similar in a way, but I feel like things you experience in your adolescent childhood where you're still like growing and forming a personality, I think are a little special, and like and yeah, it's a lot of galas or a lot of events I'm skipping these days. You know what I mean? Like I'm less
Understood.
interested in. But I think the memory of just like closing out certain high school moments with your peers is a little more important,
Oh
and so
yes,
I guess I look back on it with a little bit of regret.
understood. I didn't go to junior prom. Actually, the only high school dance I ever went to was senior prom, and that was it. But me and my family took a Vancouver and Alaska cruise last summer, and they had a couple galas on the cruise, and it was my first gala. And speaking of Vancouver, you're Canadian, right?
I'm Canadian, yeah. I'm originally from Montreal.
Nice. I've always wanted to visit Montreal.
Oh, you should go. It's I can say without a doubt it's the only European style city in all of North America. So it's essentially like going to some sort of European city, and it's very cool. A lot of different characters and individuals, and it's got interesting culture and people. Yeah, definitely go check it out.
Very cool. And do you get to visit Montreal? Do you get to visit your hometown for like vacation and for movies that you're filming?
Yeah, so I haven't done a film there. I hope to film something there at some point. Um, but I like to try and go down there at least once or twice a year
Nice,
just to visit family.
nice. I have a second home in Lakeside Marblehead. That's my main home.
Okay,
I swear that's not that's not the home I got kicked out of the theater. That's not that home. That Lakeside Marblehead is the real for me. Uh,
nice.
but you do a lot of traveling.
I do, yes.
Like, do you get nervous flying on an airplane or not so nervous?
No, never nervous. I've been flying on airplanes since I was like 12 years old. I love to travel. I yeah, I don't really I don't think I get nervous about much anymore these days. You know, every now and then maybe I'll get a little jittery or anxious more so about something, just being excited for a moment. But as far as getting nervous for travel, no, not at all.
Understood. I'm the same way when it comes to traveling because like getting on a plane is one thing, but of course when you're going across the water, that's the biggest fear, especially when you're doing international traveling because you don't know where that plane's going to land. And the nervous part about traveling is having that fear you're going to lose your passport or something.
I mean, I think it would be, call me strange, but I think it would be a great adventure to like go down in a plane crash and like have to survive and be out in the wilderness or something like that. I just think it would be an interesting story to tell.
I do see where you're going on that, but
Yeah.
still, it seems scary. Ever since I've seen the show Lost, I've been like, I wish I didn't
Yeah.
watch that.
Like I'll be honest, you know what's crazy? I'm a little bit of a strange guy, but sometimes I go on airplanes, speaking of Lost, and I like analyze the other passengers, and I'm almost like, all right, cool. If we go down, this guy over there, that guy over there, cool. We could, like I'm forward thinking the possibilities of having to survive and who's on the plane that could help me.
Nice.
Yeah,
Yeah, it makes a whole lot of sense. And now, how did the idea of Weber Studios, like, how did you get started with Weber Studios?
so I guess it was an expansion of my general business, which is a production company, right, of Weber Films, and I wanted to create like a compound, a place where I could harness the efforts of other creatives and just create a space that allowed us to work together on different projects or bring other people in and help them with their projects or just kind of expand a little more. You know, like I have great aspirations. Obviously, I'm like a independent filmmaker, director, producer, but I have great aspirations of someday like seeking out other talent and promoting other talent and developing and producing a plethora of content with other directors, producers, content creators, and just giving everyone a fair shake at their success. You know, I think this industry that we're in can be quite challenging, and not everyone is as resilient as myself, right? And I think a lot of people, if they had the right support or the right guidance or the right encouragement, they would go and reach you know, incredible heights and create really unique content for the world.
Nice. And what advice would you pass on to future filmmakers?
I would say you have to have like a true knowing of your own success path, right? And not let the general norms of society break you down. And you have to just stay in the pursuit of your goals, and you know, and you ultimately will find success. On what level of success is to be determined, but there is a general success level that everyone can reach, provided you just continue to work. Like if you just continue to put in the hours and you continue to hustle, and your intent is pure, right? Like I think, especially as a creative, you should be doing it because you're like a tastemaker and you're creating something that you truly believe in, because there's millions of other people out there who would enjoy or believe in that same type of content that you're creating. So just know that, and it probably could take long, or some people jump on a, you know, a elevator and they go right to the top, and other people take the stairs, other people take the escalators. You know, it's just a process, right? So you just kind of got to continue on and know that at some point you'll reach a certain level of success, and it's very satisfying because it's a profession that you can share with anyone and everyone in the world. So it becomes full circle for you.
Very cool. And we are coming down to the end of the interview, and we have two famous questions.
All right.
The first one is from my mother.
All
She
right.
wants to know, if you had to spend the rest of your life watching one movie, what would that movie be?
I would say probably Good Will Hunting. I really enjoyed that movie. You know,
Good choice.
yeah, I got it as a gift when I was younger, and I just remember watching it over and over again, watching from time to time.
Nice. And the second question is, this is a retro show. Did you have a favorite retro product growing up?
Probably the Nintendo 64.
Good choice.
Yeah, no, I enjoyed that absolutely. Me and my brother used to play all types of games on there together.
Nice. I used to have a I used to have two game devices. The first one was a Game Boy, and then the second
Okay,
one was a DS,
nice.
eventually.
Yeah, that's
It's funny because
fun.
my brother is the big time gamer.
Oh, cool. Well, I mean, you're now the big time talk show host.
And well, Mr. Weber, thank you again for joining today's interview, and wish you luck with your projects.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Ben.